Namaste everyone. Today we are going to start with the next organelle, that is ribosomes. Ribosomes are granular structure present in the cytoplasm of the cell. Who discovered the ribosomes? Ribosomes were first observed by the scientist George Palade in the year 1953. He observed ribosomes as a dense granular structure present in the cytoplasm of the cell with the help of electron microscope. Next is the location of ribosomes. Where you will find ribosomes in the cell? Ribosomes, they are present in the cytoplasm of the cell. They are present on the outer membrane of the nucleus, that is on nuclear membrane, and on the surface of rough endoplasmic reticulum. Ribosomes are present. Then next is, what is the composition of ribosomes? Ribosomes, they are mainly consist of ribosomal RNA. R means ribosomal RNA. Ribosomal RNA. RNA means ribonucleic acid, and proteins. So ribosomes, they are formed of ribosomal RNA and proteins. You will study in your class 12 that RNA, it is of three types. These are rRNA, which is known as ribosomal RNA, then tRNA. tRNA is known as the transfer RNA, and next is the mRNA. mRNA is known as messenger RNA. You will study in detail about the types of RNA in your class 12. Okay, so the main components of the ribosomes are ribosomal RNA and proteins. Ribosomal RNA and proteins, they pack themselves to form ribosomes. The next is structure of ribosome. Ribosome, it is a amembranous organelle. If it is a amembranous organelle, it means it is present in prokaryotic cell. Yes, the ribosomes, they are present in both prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. And in prokaryotic cell, ribosomes are present in the cytoplasm. In eukaryotic cell, ribosomes are present in cytoplasm on the surface of nuclear membrane and rough endoplasmic reticulum. Ribosome, it consists of two subunits. One is known as the large subunit and the second is small subunit. So two subunits are present in the ribosome, large and small they combine together only at the time of protein synthesis. It means when there is no synthesis of protein, these subunits, they remain separate from each other, and at the time of protein synthesis, these two subunits, they join together to form a single ribosome. You can see here, this is mRNA. It is the structure showing the synthesis of protein. So the two subunits, they join only at the time of protein synthesis. Otherwise, they remain separate in the cytoplasm. Now, these ribosomes, they are of two types, 70S ribosome and 80S ribosome. In the previous lecture, I told you about the S. S is known as the Swedberg unit or sedimentation coefficient. The types of ribosomes are two, that is 70S ribosome and 80S ribosome. 70S ribosome, it is known as the prokaryotic ribosome as it is present in prokaryotic cell. 80S ribosome, it is known as the eukaryotic ribosome as it is present in eukaryotic cell. Both of them further have two subunits. 70S ribosome, it has two subunits, large 50S, small 30S. Similarly, 80S ribosome also have two subunits, large and small, large 60S and small 40S. I hope it's clear to everyone. Now, what is the function of ribosome? Function of ribosome, the main function of ribosome is that it helps in protein synthesis. It is the site of protein synthesis. So the main function that ribosomes are the site of protein synthesis, and how the synthesis of protein take place by the ribosomes. Ribosomes, they are present in the cytoplasm, and the process by which protein synthesis take place in the cytoplasm with the help of ribosomes and messenger RNA. That process is known as translation. What it is known as? It is known as translation. Translation, it is a process of protein synthesis. You will study about this process in detail in your class 12. Now, what do you mean by polysome or polyribosome? Ribosomes which are attached to the mRNA. This is messenger RNA, mRNA. When the ribosomes, they attach with the mRNA and form a chain. This chain of ribosome along with mRNA, it is known as polysome or polyribosome. Poly means many ribosomes. So on a single chain of mRNA, when many ribosomes, they combine to form a chain of ribosome, that is known as polysome or polyribosome. And this chain, it synthesizes the protein. I hope it's clear to everyone. Now, where the synthesis of ribosome take place? Ribosomes, they are synthesized. Means the subunit of the ribosomes, they are synthesized in the nucleolus. It is synthesized by the nucleolus, and nucleolus, it is present in the nucleus of the cell. I hope it's clear to everyone. With this, ribosome is complete. Let's revise ribosomes once again. Ribosomes, they were discovered by the scientist George Palade in the year 1953, and he observed ribosome as a dense granular structure present in the cytoplasm with the help of electron microscope. Ribosomes, they mainly consist of ribosomal RNA and proteins. They are present in cytoplasm of prokaryotic cell, cytoplasm of eukaryotic cell, on the outer membrane of nucleus, and on the outer membrane of rough endoplasmic reticulum. Ribosome structure, it consists of two subunits, large and small. These subunits, they remain separate in the cytoplasm and they combine with each other during the protein synthesis. Two types of ribosomes are present, that is 70S and 80S. 70S is known as prokaryotic ribosome, whereas 80S is known as eukaryotic ribosome. 70S ribosome, it consists of two subunits, 50S and 30S, whereas 80S ribosome, it consists of two subunits, large, 60S, small, 40S. S is known as Swedberg unit. What is the function of ribosome? It helps in the protein synthesis. It is the site of protein synthesis. Now, very important question, what is polysome or polyribosome? Ribosomes, when they attach to the single mRNA and form a chain of ribosome, that is known as the polysome or polyribosome. I hope ribosome is clear to everyone. Next cell organelle is plastids. Plastids are double membrane bound cell organelle. Double membrane means two cell membrane are present around the plastid. So, plastids are double membrane bound cell organelle which are present in plant cells and in euglenoids. Euglenoids, it is a group of Protista, kingdom Protista, and it includes organism Euglena. All of you know Euglena, it is a unicellular organism and it has chlorophyll for the synthesis of food. It is autotrophic as well as heterotrophic. It shows mixotrophic mode of nutrition. Mixotrophic means two types of nutrition, autotrophic as well as heterotrophic. So, plastids are double membrane bound cell organelle which are present in plant cells and in euglenoids. Plastids, they contain different types of pigments which impart color to the plant parts. On the basis of type of pigment present in the plastid, they are classified into chloroplast, chromoplast and leucoplast. First of all, chloroplast. You have studied about chloroplast in your junior classes also. Chloroplast, it is a type of plastid which contain pigment, green colored pigment, chlorophyll and carotenoids. These pigment, chlorophyll and carotenoid, they help to perform photosynthesis in plant. So the process of photosynthesis, it takes place because of the presence of pigment, chlorophyll and carotenoid in the plastid chloroplast. So the main function of chloroplast is photosynthesis. Next is chromoplast. Chromo word, it is related to color. So these plastids, chromoplast, they contain different types of colored pigments like carotene, xanthophyll, etc. And these pigments, they provide red, yellow, orange. They provide different types of color to the different parts of plant like flower, fruit, leaves. So main function of chromoplast is that it provides color to the plant parts like flower, fruit and leaves. Next is leucoplast. Leucoplast is colorless plastid. It means no colored pigment is present in the leucoplast. So in this plastid, no colored pigments are present. So that's why it is known as the colorless plastid. This leucoplast, it stores different types of nutrients like carbohydrate, proteins and fat. So the main function of leucoplast is that it helps in storage of different type of nutrients. So on the basis of type of nutrient stored by the leucoplast, these are further of three types. These are amyloplast, elaioplast and aleuroplast. First of all, amyloplast. Amyloplast, it stores carbohydrates in the form of starch. All of you know that reserve food material of plant is starch, and starch, it is a type of carbohydrate, complex carbohydrate. So the plant, they store carbohydrate in the form of starch in the plastid known as amyloplast. For example, potato. In potato, starch. Potato, it is the main source of starch, and in potato, carbohydrate, it is stored in the form of starch in the plastid known as amyloplast. Next is elaioplast. Elaioplast, this leucoplast, it stores oil and fats. For example, peanut, sunflower seed, mustard seeds, they all have oil. They store oil in the plastid elaioplast. Next is aleuroplast. Aleuroplast, it stores proteins, all pulses. They store protein, they are rich source of protein. So where they store protein? In the plastid aleuroplast. We will study about the structure of chloroplast. Chloroplast, it is the most abundant type of plastid present in the mesophyll cells of the leaves. So where they are present? They are present in the mesophyll cells, and the mesophyll cells, they are present in the leaves of the green plant. These chloroplasts, they have varied shape. They can be lens shaped, oval and they may be ribbon like. The chloroplast, they have variable length. Their length of 5 to 10 micrometer and width of 2 to 4 micrometer. The number of chloroplasts, it also varies in a cell. For example, in unicellular organism Chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas, it have one chloroplast per cell. It is a unicellular organism and it has one chloroplast per cell, and in green alga they have 20 to 40 chloroplasts per cell in mesophyll. Now let's discuss the structure of the chloroplast. This is a diagram of the chloroplast, you can see, and chloroplast, as it is a plastid, and in the beginning I told you that plastids, they are double membrane bound cell organelle. So the chloroplast, it has two membrane, outer membrane and inner membrane, and these two membrane, they enclose a space which is filled with a substance known as stroma. And the stroma, it consists of variety of substances like different types of proteins, carbohydrates, and enzymes are present. Different types of enzymes are present for the synthesis of proteins and carbohydrate, and enzymes required for synthesis of different types of substances required for photosynthesis. And most important, the stroma of chloroplast, it consists of circular DNA. It consists of circular DNA. You have studied that circular DNA, it is present in prokaryotic cell, and plastid, chloroplast, it resembles prokaryotic cell in the presence of circular DNA and the presence of 70S ribosome. Both these, they are present in prokaryotic cell, circular DNA and 70S ribosome. So in chloroplast, in its stroma, circular DNA and 70S ribosomes are present. The second part is granum. Granum is singular and plural is granum. First of all, we will discuss about thylakoid. What are thylakoid? A membrane bound structures or membrane bound sac-like structures, sac-like structures are present in the stroma. These sac-like structures are known as thylakoid. What they are known as? Sac-like structures are known as thylakoid. And this empty space present inside the thylakoid, it is known as lumen. And this lumen, it is filled with a green colored pigment known as chlorophyll. So, where is chlorophyll present in the chloroplast? It is present in the thylakoid. In the thylakoid, it is a sac-like structure and has lumen, and its lumen is filled with a green colored pigment known as chlorophyll. These thylakoid, they stack over each other, they pile up over each other to form a stack, and that stack is known as the granum. Many granum are present in the chloroplast, and these granum, each granum, they are connected with each other with the help of stroma lamellae. Stroma lamellae, it helps to connect the different granum with each other. Okay. So the main component of the granum is the thylakoid, and the thylakoid, it mainly consists of green colored pigment chlorophyll, which help to capture light energy and convert light energy into chemical energy for photosynthesis. I hope it's clear to everyone. So let's revise the structure of chloroplast once again. Chloroplast, it is a double membrane bound cell organelle. It consists of two membrane, outer membrane and inner membrane, and it consists of two parts, stroma and granum. First of all, thylakoid. Thylakoid are sac-like structures filled with green colored pigment chlorophyll. They stack over each other, they pile up over each other to form a structure known as granum. Granum, they are connected with each other with the help of stroma lamellae. Stroma, it is a substance or the matrix of the chloroplast, and the stroma, it consists of various types of enzymes, circular DNA, ribosomes and other type of material. With this, structure of chloroplast is complete. Function of plastids. What are the functions of plastids? As we have discussed earlier, types of plastid. So number one, plastid, they help in the synthesis of food by the process of photosynthesis. Which plastid help in photosynthesis? That is chloroplast with the help of pigment chlorophyll. Second, chromoplast, it provides color to the various part of the plant like leaves, fruit and flower. Third, Leucoplast, it helps in the storage of different types of nutrients like carbohydrate, proteins and fat. With this, plastid is complete. Next cell organelle is mitochondria. Singular, it is known as the mitochondrion. Singular word is mitochondrion and plural is mitochondria. Mitochondria, it is the second largest cell organelle after nucleus. Nucleus, it is the largest cell organelle and mitochondria, it is the second largest cell organelle. Mitochondria, its number varies in a cell. Its number is variable in a cell and it depends upon the physiological activity of the cell. It means the more active cell, they have more number of mitochondria, and less active cell, they will have less number of mitochondria. The shape and size of mitochondria is also variable. It can be sausage shaped or cylindrical or rod shaped. Mitochondria, its size varies in a cell. It can have a length of 1 micrometer to 4.1 micrometer, diameter of 0.2 micrometer to 1 micrometer, and average diameter of the mitochondria is 0.5 micrometer. So it varies in size, shape, and the number of mitochondria is also variable in a cell. Now let's discuss about the structure of mitochondria. Mitochondria, it is a double membrane bound cell organelle. It means two membranes are present in mitochondria. These membranes are outer membrane and inner membrane. These two membranes, it separates it divides the lumen of mitochondria into two compartments. This one is known as the inner compartment and the lumen present between the outer and inner membrane is known as the outer compartment. The inner compartment of mitochondria, it is filled with a homogeneous substance. It is filled with a homogeneous substance known as matrix. So the substance present in the mitochondria is known as the matrix, and the matrix of mitochondria, it consists of various types of enzymes which are required for protein synthesis, lipid synthesis and for the generation of ATP. It also consists of circular DNA. Like prokaryotic cell, they also have circular DNA and 70S ribosomes. So 70S ribosome and circular DNA, they are present in two organelles. One is the mitochondria and second is the plastid. Both of these organelles, they have 70S ribosome and circular DNA, which is also present in prokaryotic cell. Okay. Then next is the inner membrane. You can see that inner membrane, it forms a finger-like projections. These finger-like projections, they are directed or they face towards the matrix. These finger-like projections are known as the crista. Crista is singular and plural is cristae. So finger-like projections, they are present in the inner membrane. And what is the function of these finger-like projections crista? These crista, they increase surface area for the generation of ATP or for the production of ATP. If we see the structure of crista, what we will find that crista, it consists of lollipop shaped structure. These are known as oxysomes. What they are known as? They are known as oxysomes or F0, F1 particle. So, on the crista, on the inner membrane, in the whole inner membrane, the oxysomes, they are present. Now we will discuss about the structure of oxysome. If we see the structure of oxysome, it consists of a base, and this base, it is embedded in the inner membrane. It is embedded here. Okay, and this base, it is known as the F0. So base is known as F0. Then it consists of short stalk which connect the base with the round structure, and this round structure is known as the head of oxysome, and this head, it is known as the F1. What it is known as the F1. So this is the F1. This portion, round head region, is known as the F1, and the base is known as the F0. F0 and F1 particle, they are connected with each other with the help of short stalk. Now what is the function of this oxysome? The main function of oxysome lies in the F1 region. F1 region or F1 particle, it consists of enzyme, and the enzyme is known as ATPase. ATPase or ATP synthase. This enzyme ATPase or ATP synthase, it is ATPase enzyme, it is required for the synthesis of ATP. So the main function of F0 F1 particle or oxysome is that it helps in the synthesis of energy molecule known as ATP. Okay, so the ATP, where they are synthesized? They are synthesized on the surface of crystal with the help of oxysome. I hope it's clear to everyone. So what is the main function of mitochondria? You have studied in your junior class that mitochondria, it is known as the energy house or powerhouse of the cell. Why it is known as the powerhouse of the cell? Because it provides energy molecule, or it synthesizes energy molecule that is known as the ATP, which is used by the cell for the various activity, for performing various activity. Now we have studied that two organelles, mitochondria and plastid, both of them consist of circular DNA and 70S ribosomes. So these two organelles, mitochondria and plastid, they are known as the semi-autonomous organelle. What they are known as? They are known as semi-autonomous organelle. Why they are known as the semi-autonomous organelle? Semi means half. Auto means self. Means they are known as the self-regulatory organelle, because they consist of DNA and ribosomes. All of you know ribosomes, they help in the synthesis of protein. Because of the presence of ribosomes and DNA in their matrix, they synthesize most of the protein by themselves. So for their replication, they synthesize their own proteins, and they require very less proteins which are synthesized by the nucleus of the cell. So that's why they are known as the semi-autonomous organelle. So which two organelles are known as semi-autonomous organelle? Plastid, that is chloroplast, or plastid mainly chloroplast we will do. Chloroplast and mitochondria, they are known as the semi-autonomous organelle because of the presence of 70S ribosome and circular DNA. Even mitochondria, it can replicate itself by the process of binary fission. You have studied about binary fission in your class 10 in the chapter reproduction. Binary fission means when a cell, it can divide into two daughter cells. So similarly, mitochondria, it also double its number by the process of binary fission. With this, mitochondria is complete.